think there are too many rules around kids and education and that really we're stifling their learning?
There's a hidden kind of rules that sit there are a big problem, and that is that we test everything with a pulse. So we've grown, really since the 1990s, this very anxious education system that assumes that learning is only valid if it can be marked. And so what happens is that kids live in this risk-averse environment where they have to learn formula, not creative, not risk-taking, but learn what's going to be in the test, because that's what's going to be rewarded. And so 5-year-old kids in New Zealand now are walking into school gates into testing regimes. And then you have teachers doing it because that's how they're going to be valued by the hierarchy. And then you have principals having to report and report and report. And what happens is that the space that was supposed to be in there and that we had brilliantly in the 40s for growing learning as something disobedient, a bit risk-taking, a bit flexible, has become this micromanaged environment where we get them through into university now, these young men and women who they know strategy, they know formula, but they are terrified of taking risks. You don't win the America's Cup on people who are terrified of taking risks.
No, and this is the thing. We are a country that is now so reliant on innovation and creativity, but how do we nurture that in the classroom?
Yeah. Well, the first thing you do is that you give people more room to learn and teach. You take the obsession away. We don't have to mark everything for it to be valid. In fact, you know, when you and I at school or any situation, most of the learning we do actually can't be put into a box. It's a fluid thing. Learning is a process. It's not a product. And so when you say to somebody, oh, Hilary, we're going to test you to see your word recognition here, or we're going to test you against where you were 3 weeks ago, we're only testing what you can perform, not actually what you've learned. So you get some people like very finely tuned thinkers who panic in those situations. And we say they're underperforming. It doesn't mean they're underlearning. It just means our way of getting the data is flawed. But what's happened is that we've ended up with something that is far, far too obsessed on the assessment and not the child. So what happened was where the child was at the centre of our education, now it's national standards. That's wrong. That's wrong. And for a wee country at the bottom of the world we have to be value added to be able to compete, because the simple point is when we send something from here to Belgium, we have to pay a lot of cartage, freight, we have to pay all those things. So the only way we're going to compete internationally is to have uniqueness. And it's a dangerous thing to go, oh, but we're innovative because it's a cultural gift. It's not. The number 8 wire is not a cultural gift. You have to teach it. You have to work with it. And if you close down your education system into tick boxes, what you end up with is a whole lot of compliance strategists that doesn't take a crazy-looking boat skimming across the waves and taking up the America's Cup. But it also doesn't give you creativity in sport. It doesn't give you creativity in business. It doesn't give you creativity in parenting. It doesn't do those things. It teaches formula.